Welcome to the Indie Author Showcase, the podcast for indie authors by indie authors. I am your host, Chad Robert Morgan, six-time award-winning independent author, and you might have noticed we've been gone for a few weeks. What the hell happened? So let's start by dealing with the elephant in the room. What the hell happened to me? So this all starts in the last weekend of May, in fact, June 1st, literally the night of June 1st. We were at Monsterpalooza, and let me start by saying Monsterpalooza was off the hook. We were fantastic. I had been, before Monsterpalooza, talking about how we've seen kind of this drop in attendance in all these monster conventions, all these horror conventions, and the like, and speculating as to why. Is it because there's too many here in Southern California and we're kind of getting a glut? Is it because of the economy and what people are doing with tariffs and all this kind of making people skittish, or what? We don't know, right? We're constantly speculating. But whatever was going on, Monsterpalooza bucked that trend. We were going nuts. I was like talking to the other vendors, like I'm looking across the street. Across the aisle from me was our friends Black Spot Creations, and they're just like, wow, like we were doing great. Fear, my latest book, I only had it in paperback because I had not gotten the hardcovers in time. I had just under 25 copies of that in paperback, sold out. I had about 15 copies of The Last Rite in hardcover. We thought we sold out. We were packing up. We found like 2 more hardcovers in a box, and we're like, well, crap, now we found it. We thought we had sold out on that as well. So that was an incredible amount of sales. And what hindered me most was I ran out of product. If I had more money, I would have done better. So I was on cloud 9. This was fantastic. And that's when God said, well, we can't let that happen. We can't let that stay. So my wife and I were packing up. I had my big display box where I had my glow-in-the-dark monsters. And I was trying to pull it off the shelf so we can take the shelves apart. And I was going to set it on a table in the booth next to us, which was already vacant. And I tripped over another box on the floor. There was a stack of boxes. I walked around that box. There was another one on the floor just waiting for me. So now I'm stumbling. And I don't want to drop the box. And keep in mind, this acrylic box is like something like 2 feet square, right? And it's a big, huge acrylic cube. I'm not so cared about, what's inside. I can replace those, but it's a big square. So I'm stumbling, trying to catch my balance, and all that's doing is building up momentum. So when I do finally fall, I just fall that much harder. And I land hard on my left knee, hold the box out because I don't want to land on the box. Again, big, clear plastic box. Don't want to smash through it. Don't want to crash into it. So I wound up face planting on the floor. And the floor of the ballroom at the Pasadena Conference Center is basically cement with a layer of carpet on top of it. No padding whatsoever. And I split my lip down here and across this way. So now I'm bleeding from the mouth. I'm bleeding from my nose. People thought I broke my nose, and it's still sore all around here, right? I didn't break anything, but I messed it up pretty damn good. But my lip was literally split in two. So I'm sitting there trying to stem the bleeding. Big props to the people that run past Monsterpalooza. Again, and this accident was 100% my fault. The show had nothing to do with this. The convention center had nothing to do with it. I'm just an idiot, right? But big props to the people running the con that helped out, my fellow vendors who came to our aid, and who pinged me like on Instagram afterwards. Like, hey, are you doing okay? Are you healing up and everything like that? Big props to the people running the Pasadena Convention Center, because they not only got the paramedics to me, but my wife was left by herself to pack out the booth, and I'm getting to her in a minute. Um, and we had the car with the trailer that she is not comfortable driving with. So she made arrangements with the Pasadena Convention Center to basically leave it parked where it was, which was a little bit of a precarious spot. They kind of squeezed me in with the understanding that if I had to move it, they would call me. And now I'm in the ER. They can't call me. Um, but they totally worked with us. They left it locked up after hours. So once I got out of the hospital, we Ubered back. And then with me coaching her, my wife drove the truck with the trailer for the first time ever down about an hour of freeway traffic back to the house. Um, so big props to the people running the Pasadena Convention Center. Huge help. We would have been totally screwed without their help. Thanks again to the paramedics in the city of Pasadena who took me to the Huntington ER. Where there, I got a plastic surgeon that had to not only stitch my lip back together, but had to stitch the muscles underneath back together so I can, talk again. While I was there, though, and this is where things get more complicated, I'm sitting there holding an ice pack, trying to keep trying to stem the bleeding. And I'm like, where's the call button? It's over there. So I start moving, and all of a sudden my knee explodes in pain. And I'm like, what the hell? And then it's swollen up to like 3 times its size. And I'm not even really exaggerating. I mean, okay, maybe not 3, but I mean, it's huge. I take my pants off because I'm afraid if I don't take them off now, it's going to swell up so much, they're going to have to cut them off. And we're like, what the hell? So now, not only do I got to get my lip stitched up, but I have them taking x-rays on my knee to see if I broke anything. That reveals nothing but fluid. They send me to a CT to make sure I didn't like rupture a major blood vessel or something like that. It's several $100s and several doctor visits later, and the end result is basically I got a massive hematoma in my knee. So I had bruised something, and so all that dark capillary blood just kept feeding into it. It got to a point where the back of my knee was completely purple, my foot was purple, because all that blood had to drain somewhere, and of course, being a leg, gravity wants to pull it down. The one person that I need to think above all else is my wife. So here I am being taken to the ER. She's left by herself. It's not even her thing, right? She's just there to help me out. She would rather be doing the laundry or something. She does not really want to be there. Pat has to pack out the 10 by 10 booth by herself. And these shelving units, like the box to hold the clamps together, is heavy. The glass panels, they go into the box, they're heavy. I struggle to lift them. And I'm like a foot taller than she is, and like twice her weight. But she manages it all by herself. Ubers over to be with me in the hospital. Makes arrangements with the Pasadena Convention Center, as I mentioned, to leave the car there safe and secure. And then we Uber back over and drive home together. While I'm on crutches. I'm on pain meds. So I'm just wiped out. And she did all this way outside of her comfort zone. Had to drive the truck with the trailer, which she's never done before. I mean, I was kind of co-piloting and coaching, but honestly, she really didn't need my help. She had it. She had a handle on it all. So yeah, if it wasn't for her, I would have been so much more screwed than I was. So special thanks to the wife. So that's where we've been for the past couple of weeks. I just barely got the stitches out. I had this big old huge graggly beard because I couldn't shave because the stitches were here in the hairline and I didn't want to cut them off. And the wife did not like the beard. I had people telling me I should keep it. The wife did not like the beard. So for the past week, I've been sitting around with my leg up, trying to get the swelling to go down. I still have swelling in my lip over here. I don't think a lot of people can tell visually, but it feels like I got a couple small rocks in there still, right? So, and this is all still sore. So I'm still not quite right, but I'm right enough that I can speak without a lisp now. I can speak clearly now. So, which is good news because I still got an audiobook I'm supposed to be finishing too. So I am very slowly getting back on track. With that said, as I'm getting the showcase back up and running, one thing I was realizing as I'm laying there on the couch with my leg up and binge watching Severance, we do reviews. Well, not really reviews, but I mean, we showcase books on the podcast to help help these books get noticed, help these authors get noticed. And everything in every episode, I'm like, if you really want to support your author, your indie author, leave a review. And it kind of dawned on me, we're not following our own advice. When I go and get a review from the audiobook reviewer, for example, that review shows up on my Amazon page. It shows up on my Goodreads as audiobook reviewer, right? Same if you pay the money and get it from Kirkus, for example. So I'm like, you know what? We're showcasing these books. We want to be legit. We should follow our own advice. So one thing that I've been doing as I've been sitting on the couch with my leg elevated with not much else I can do because I can't freaking move is I have been adding reviews of all the books that we have showcased here on the podcast on Goodreads. I'm trying to get it set up to where I can do it under the Indie Author Showcase banner on Amazon. I haven't quite got that worked out yet. But for right now, I'm recording everything that I'm writing, and I'm giving quite a few indie authors, because it turns out I've reviewed quite a few, 5-star reviews on Goodreads. So we're going to be doing that moving forward. One other thing I wanted to mention, and this was just, again, proof that the showcase, the purpose of the showcase seems to be working, is before my accident, I reviewed The Big Decay by Eric Williford. Great guy, fantastic guy. We were hanging out together at Pasadena Comic-Con. He messaged me on Instagram and says, can I get the information on your book? I want to pay it forward on my newsletter and let my readers know about you. Which, again, is first of all, it's fantastic. Thank you for the help. But secondly, that is the spirit of the podcast, for indie authors to support each other. And so, yeah, it's like, yeah, somebody's paying it forward. It's like, that is absolutely fantastic. We need more of that. I know, for example, Scott Harper. I did say I can talk normal, right? Scott Harper follows me on the Facebook and the Instagram. We tend to help each other out. He does a post. I'm sitting there liking it. He does, I do a post. He's sitting there liking it. So we're sharing it and liking each other's posts to try to help build up our social media. But that is very much in the spirit of the podcast, is indie authors supporting each other. That just thrilled me, not just because it helps me personally, but that is, I feel like something bigger than me is starting to take root and starting to grow. And that was just a really phenomenal sensation. I hope we get more of that. I mean, like I said, not just to help me personally, but just to try to get some interconnection between these indie authors, so we can. I wanted to do that last weekend at Hellmouth, but I mean, my leg is just foobarred. Raven Belasco was supposed to be at Hellmouth. Casey Cordell was supposed to be at Hellmouth. I wanted to get there and chat with them, meet Raven in person because she's on the East Coast, make introductions with Casey. I wanted to help build this community, and this was a perfect opportunity. And unfortunately, because I tripped over a damn box, I messed it all up and I couldn't do it. So it kills me. It kills me. But by the same token, it's still good that the spirit is starting to grow. So with that, let's do this week's review. And let's start getting this podcast back on track. So I took a little detour from my TBR because I heard about this book and it had gotten a lot of interest. In fact, I mentioned it to my son, and it's like, "Oh, that book." And I was like, "You read it?" He says, "No, but it's kind of infamous on TikTok." And I was like, "Oh, good Lord, what did I stumble into here?" But I mean, that's how I found out about the book, is because I was following the author on TikTok. It came up as a suggestion. I started following him, and there you go. And what I'm talking about is called Playground by Aron Beauregard. This is not for the faint of heart. I'm going to tell you this right now. This is a splatterpunk book. I mean, it's gore porn. But it's gore porn with a bunch of children. Okay? The basic plot is some evil, twisted, sick, demented old woman with more money than compassion basically creates a murder-type escape room for kids, locks the parents in their chairs so they have to watch as her kids struggle to survive this gauntlet of terrors that she has devised. Normally, this is not my kind of book, right? I like my horror with a supernatural element. The idea of humans being unkind to other humans is not, to me, fiction. That's just, unfortunately, that happens. It's a little too much real for me. To think that another human being can be that sick and deprived is it's disheartening. It's a lot easier to think that some malevolent demon from another dimension is devouring your child than some sadistic old woman who sends them down a slide with barbed wire that they have to dodge, that kind of thing. With that said, it was an exquisitely written book. Some of the reviewers are saying, like, "Oh, you don't just read it, you live it." And I couldn't have agreed more. There were chapters where I actually was feeling nauseous. Because it was the details were that grotesque and detailed. And again, that's sort of the point of the book, right? He's like, I write horror. I write things that happen to kids, but usually it's kind of like, that happens off screen, right? Like the monster comes, the kid screams, we cut to black. It's kind of implied that the kid gets killed, but we don't actually watch that happen. This guy's not holding back. Aron Beauregard, it's the things that he's talking about, the kid's head doing this, and the eyeball doing that, and then the barbed wire doing this, and there is something visceral when it is happening to children. And I think that's one reason why this book has kind of gotten some viral attention, because it's ingrained in our DNA to defend our offspring. I did say I can talk again, right? Our offspring, our kids. The idea that as a parent, you are strapped to a chair, helpless, watching as your kids are duking it out in this sort of battle royale situation, And I don't mean teenagers, I mean kids. That is just a gut punch on the most primal level, which I think is one reason why it sticks. And again, on top of that, he's not just doing like surface level, oh yeah, and then the kid got hit and then the kid got cut. No, you feel every cut, you hear every crunch. It is just so well written in spite of the very off-putting subject matter. So is this a recommendation? I would say conditionally. Like if you are a big fan of like Terrifier or the Saw franchise, yeah, no, this book is the next level for you, right? It's almost, I think this book came out first, but it is almost like he watched Terrifier and went, hold my beer. I can one up you, right? If that is your style of book, you're going to love this. This is absolutely off the hook. If you're a casual reader, you've been warned. You want to stay away from this book. Okay? This is for a specific audience. That audience will love this book. I don't know how many people outside of that audience will. It is fantastically written. But again, the subject matter is so off-putting. I've had similar problems with my own work because, like, I'll sit there with the books out and I'll have the Baby Eater out there, and I'll have people look at my books and they look at the title and some of them are like, "Ooh, Baby Eater," and they go to it. And I've had people look at Baby Eater and, "Oh no, I'll check out one of these other ones. I'm not touching that one," because it's hitting that visceral thing. And that's what I'm saying. This is that guy's Baby Eater, right? I'm just putting it right out there. If you want to push the limits to splatterpunk, if you want to push your limits of horror, if you're watching Terrifier going, yeah, well, that was pretty good. Yeah, this is your book. You're going to love it. You're going to eat it up. I would highly recommend it if that is your flavor. If it's not your flavor, I cannot see anybody that's not into that style of book enjoying it. So yeah, it is a very strong but very conditional recommendation, if that makes any sense. I hope it does, because it, like I said, it is a fantastic book of its genre, and its genre is very kind of specific, right? If that's your style, get it, read it, you'll love it. If it's not, wait till next week and we'll review something a little bit more your style, hopefully. But I mean, that is kind of the reason why we don't do reviews in general, is because it is subjective, right? Like we did Plain Princess Jane. That's a good book. Playground, it's a good book. Very different book. The two are talking to very different audiences. People who like Plain Princess Jane will not like Playground, and vice versa, right? So, and again, that is the point of the podcast. I want you to be informed. I want you to say, okay, this book is checking these boxes here. That sounds like my style. If it's not your style, let's find another one for you. Let's find a book that suits your particular taste. As a guy who reads horror, as a guy who has watched all 3 Terrifier films, I enjoyed the book. It was very visceral. It was very hard to get through at times, not because of the writing, but because of the subject matter. But I mean, that's sort of what we're trying to do with books is push ideas, push envelopes, push past our comfort zone. And in that sense, this guy succeeded very well. So I know I've said it about 5 times by now, but yeah, if you're into that splatterpunk horror type thing, if you are, big fan of like the Hostel series or Terrifier, this book is going to be right up your alley, and I highly recommend you checking it out. Okay, so that's the podcast for this week. I am definitely trying to keep it short because I need to get back off of this legs before it starts swelling up and hurting again. Plus, I have a a ton of reviews I got to add on Goodreads, it turns out. Every time I think I got the complete list of all the books I have reviewed, I find a couple more that I've forgotten about. In fact, I had done a review, Andrew Schrader's Unnameable. Shows you how many authors I'm talking to. I bumped into him at Pasadena Comic-Con, did not recognize him, pitched the showcase. He offered me a book to review. I'm halfway through it before I realized I've already done a book from this guy. And it was good. We gave it a strong recommendation. Like it was a very good Lovecraftian style book. And I'm like, come on, man, you double dipping here. Come on, you get. But I mean, it's just, that's how many people I'm talking to that I'm starting to lose track a little bit. And I'm like, okay, that's not good. So that's one reason why I'm really excited that our next event is going to be out of our normal LA, Orange County, Riverside area, right? We are going to be at Hauntmare Expo in about a month, July 26th and 27th, I believe it is. Hauntmare Expo will be at the Fresno Fairgrounds. Fresno's. I still got a little bit of a lisp going. I don't know if you're noticing it or not. I hear it. Hauntmare Expo, this is apparently the second time they've done it. I've heard the first one went really well. This is like the last one I applied to blind because my wife won't let me do that anymore because I had a couple of bad ones. So what was really enticing about it is, one, the other vendor said it went rather well. Extremely well, I believe is what they were saying. So that gives me some optimism. Second, the booth fees are very, very low. That even if you start tacking on hotel costs, it's still cheaper than pretty much any booth fee I've done here in Southern California. And this is for a full corner booth. So the chances of making profit increase the lower your booth fees are, right? Because the cost of the books aren't really changing. So fingers crossed that this is going to go really well. After that, it will be towards the middle of September. We will be at Creep IE Aftermath. And if you want a discount one-day pass to Creep IE, use promo code SPECTRAL. That's Spectral as in Spectral Ink Productions, which is yours truly. Do that, and you'll get a discount. And it will also help out me and the podcast, because the number one person whose promo code is cashed in gets a free booth next time. And you want to talk about making profit, if you reduce the booth fees to nothing, you're pure profit at that point. And trust me, at this point, with all the hospital bills I've had to pay for, I can use the win. Please use promo code Spectral. It would be a huge help. After that, in October, we have Sun and Monsterpalooza, and there's one more coming up. It's like in November that I may or may not be involved in. I don't know yet. But that's going to be more or less the convention season for the rest of the year, which is good because, as I mentioned before, I need to heal up. I'm foobarred. So we will see you next week as we will continue the Indie Author Showcase and bring you more books to review. And in the meantime, I'll be on the couch with my leg up, adding all these reviews to Goodreads. And until next week, keep on reading.